Hello and welcome to this anatomic presentation of the canine thoracic cavity. I am Professor Raymond Macharia, a neuroscientist and a veterinary surgeon. This specimen is a prosected specimen showing the lateral view and internal parts of a canine thoracic cavity. The left forelimb has been removed together with its extrinsic muscles. The most cranial ribs together with the intercostal muscles have also been removed, as well as the left cranial and caudal lobes of the lungs. The removal of the left lobes of the lung expose various organs within the thoracic cavity. The heart is clearly visible, with its apex directed caudoventrally. The base of the heart, which anatomically is located medially in the thoracic cavity, can be seen together with the aorta and the left subclavian artery. The more muscular left ventricle as well as the left atrium face the lateral thoracic wall. The right ventricle and atrium are partially visible as the two face slightly mediolaterally to the right lobes of the lungs and the right thoracic wall. The aorta leaves the base of the heart and curves caudally, running below the bodies of the thoracic vertebrae, while sending out segmental intercostal arteries and then penetrate the diaphragm through the aortic hiatus to enter the abdominal course. The left subclavian artery is more visible in the specimen than the brachiocephalic artery and leaves the base of the heart to supply the cranial and ventral thorax, neck, and the left forelimb. The cranial vena cava can be seen ventral to the trachea and drain blood back to the heart from the forelimbs, the head, and the neck. The internal thoracic vein collecting blood from the cranial and ventral thorax can be seen draining into the cranial vena cava. The trachea can also be seen coursing caudally near the thoracic inlet, and ureter bifurcate into the right and left bronchi. The left bronchi stumps can be seen in this specimen. The esophagus is partially visible as it courses on the right side of the trachea and becomes markedly visible after passing the lung bifurcation and the base of the heart before penetrating the diaphragm through the esophageal hiatus. The thymus, a lymphoid organ, lies cranioventrally in the thoracic cavity and can be seen adjacent to the right ventricle. The thymus is important in immunogenic processes in the early postnatal life, but regress in the adult animal. The diaphragm is a skeletal muscle partitioning the abdomen and the thoracic cavity. The diaphragm plays an important part in respiration. The phrenic nerve, which is composed of nerve fibers from the third and fifth cervical nerves, innervate the diaphragm after passing laterally to the base of the heart. The phrenic nerve also supplies sensory innervation to the parietal pleura. The vagus nerve is a cranial nerve that leaves the head and travels down the neck, supplying somatic motor innervation to the muscles of the larynx in its course. Caudal to the larynx, the vagus is composed mainly of parasympathetic fibers and supply the organs in the thoracic cavity such as the heart and lungs. The vagus nerve divides into both a ventral and a dorsal branch after passing the base of the heart, and thereafter penetrate the diaphragm to supply most of the gastrointestinal tract except the descending colon, which is supplied by parasympathetic fibers from the sacrospinal cord. The sympathetic nerve supply to the head originate from the brain, and their tracks run through the spinal cord to eventually emerge segmentally in the thoracolumbar region to form the sympathetic chain. The first two of all three segments, namely T1 to T3, move cranially along the paravertebral region to form the stellate ganglia, also known as the cervicothoracic ganglia. The ansa subclavia are sympathetic fibers from the cervicothoracic ganglia which come together to form the middle thoracic ganglia, from where the sympathetic innervation to the heart and other thoracic structures is derived. It is also the point from which the fibers are set against the vagus to form the vagosympathetic trunk to supply the neck and the head with sympathetic innervation. It is noteworthy that injuries or pathologies in the neck region that interfere with the vagosympathetic trunk could have deleterious effects in the head, such as reduced vision due to the impact on the radial smooth muscles of the iris, and could also affect the gut movement through the compromise of the vagal innervation. We will discuss individual structures and components of the thoracic cavity in the next presentation, highlighting clinically related anatomical aspects. Thank you for listening.